I'm Kiran Varanasi, and I work at Motiva. So, what I do at Motiva is I lead the technology strategy for Motiva. I head up their enterprise architecture and infrastructure functions. I there was I think Preet was presenting her slides earlier, and when she started off with the industry challenges, there was something that caught my eye. The first two slides, the two things that stood out for me, I think it was number three on both. One was about agility of the organization, and on the second slide, it was skill set gaps. But before we get into that, let me walk you through what Motiva does, and then we'll talk about what we are doing from in terms of digital transformation and how our partners are helping us. If I can figure this out. There it is. Okay. I guess I have to point it somewhere. So Motiva at a glance. So Motiva, we are in the crude and chemicals, oil, chemicals and natural gas business. We are headquartered in Houston. Our refinery and chemical plant is in Port Arthur, Texas. We are about 2,400 strong. We are the largest refinery in all of North America. And we are also the second largest producer of lubricants, or base oils as they call them, in the world. We supply branded gasoline, and you'll see a little bit more about that, to over 5,000 different US retail locations. And we also have a chemical plant, and that we are looking to expand more on that. We acquired this chemical plant in 2019. That facility is also located in Port Arthur within the same complex as the refinery. So overall, that entire structure is I have driven through that, and it's pretty awesome. So what does Motiva do? It optimizes the end-to-end value of the overall crude refining process. We are a complete downstream process. We don't have upstream assets. But what we do is we take the upstream assets and then take them through the entire value chain until they get to the end user. We don't supply directly to the end user, but we are wholesale suppliers. In terms of our footprint, we have extensive supply and logistics operations. So we store at any given point in time over 10 million barrels of storage. We have a marine fleet. The map below there, you can see that the reach is global. As far as it extends all the way up to Asia. In 2021, there were 933 voyages of shipping crude across the world. We have 26 terminals, and we also have 475 miles of pipeline. We are the largest refinery. The refinery has been in operation since 1902 and has gone through various owners. We produce about 630,000, that's 30 million, 630,000, sorry. 630,000 barrels of crude, refined crude a day. That's enough to produce gasoline to fuel about 548,000 cars. And you can see the numbers. We produce diesel and jet fuel as well. And if you look at I mentioned earlier that we do supply branded gasoline. We are the exclusive retailer for two major brands. Everyone is familiar with Shell and this 76 brand. And our footprint as you can see, extends from Texas all the way up to Maine in the East Coast. And our pipeline is also in the East Coast. Our base oils, as I mentioned, is the largest. We are the largest producer of base oils. We produce about 40,000 barrels a day, enough to lubricate about 1.3 million cars. Our petrochemical plant, as I mentioned, we acquired it in 2019, and it's been running. I think the market has been a little bit challenging in terms of petrochemicals, but essentially what we do there is produce a lot of things that we use in our daily life, right? Everything from plastics, tires, clothing, to medical equipment, toys, auto parts, all of these things. So that, as you can see, is a complete end-to-end picture of a lot of things that touch our daily life. In fact, I think the 2020 number for the contribution of Motiva to their national GDP was about 17 or 18 million, roughly. 18 billion, sorry. So I mentioned the two slides that earlier, and as I was watching those slides, I was thinking, how did we do our digital transformation? And you'll notice that we put people up there first. And as I was watching those slides, that's what struck me, that is really what ultimately drives the digital transformation that we are looking for in the organization. We saw in the PGT presentation as well, as you rightly pointed out, that it's difficult for people to accept change, to say that something is going to be different there, especially in the manufacturing industry or in the oil industry, where people are set in their ways. They've been doing this for hundreds of years, and they know what is right. So it's difficult for them to think differently, think out of the box. So it's essential that we focus on culture, on changing the culture as part of the overall transformation of the organization. So our tenets of accelerating our digital transformation will focus on people, focus on process, simplify your processes, and build a foundation of technology that will allow for the company to grow. To that extent, we wanted to build an integrated team culture. So that meant focus on the culture not just within Motiva, but also get our partners together and focus on a collective transformation of culture. Kyndryl is one of our big partners. They provide us with infrastructure services, and I think was in one of the other presentations. I think Jason mentioned Kyndryl has been around for 1 year, essentially as Kyndryl, right? So they're an organization that are going through a transformation themselves, trying to change, create their own identity. I've been at Motiva for 1.5 years. Motiva themselves have gone through a very painful separation process from being a joint venture to an independent, wholly owned operator. So the timing was just right for these teams to come together and focus on changing their collective organizational culture, right? So our keys to building our integrated team culture was, this is not rocket science. These are very, feel like common sense here, but communicate, be transparent. The only way you can affect change is by accepting where what you need to work on, where your gaps are, and being completely transparent about that, right? Focus on developing leaders. Again, um, it requires people to accept and then people to drive the change, because you do not change everybody at the same time, right? I think all of you have heard of the Tuckman model, where you go through these four stages of change: the forming, norming, storming, and then performing stages, right? So at each of those stages, you are winning some people over, and those become your champions, your leaders. So it's important to develop that, right? Collaboration, not just within ourselves, within IT or OT, but with the business, with our business, and then with our partners as well. So we are collectively one team marching towards the same vision. And then have a passion for delivery, right? Your PGT example was fantastic. How you came in, you saw something, and you said, okay, this is what we are going to drive this change, right? So it's that passion for delivery, for execution, and taking on that ownership. And again, that is a transformative culture as well. That's something that needs to be bred as well. And of course, have fun while doing all of this. If you can't have fun, then work feels like work. Work should not feel like work for you to deliver results. So our core tenets of our success with Kyndryl are really the alignment of our core values. I mentioned both these organizations are faced with about this similar kind of challenges in terms of their evolution, where they are, and it just happened that we are all marching to the same vision. Because our core values aligned, we wanted to do the same kind of transformation across the board. They've become a great partner. So we set out an agenda, and we said, let's focus on being one team and deliver what is important to our business. That was the first thing. IT should be an enabler and should earn its seat at the business table, and that can only happen if we focus on business outcomes, business objectives. So collectively, we formed a team, and we said, let's improve our communications, let's focus on our leadership development, let's focus on building those champions across the board, and then focus on our transformation so that we can actually deliver our business objectives. Revitalize. What that was about was changing our ways of operation. We were doing a lot of stuff. Our systems were failing, we were recovering, so we were always in a reactive mode. We hadn't paused to take stock of what we were trying to deliver and how we were going to deliver that, right? So we paused, we said, okay, let's look at what we have. Let's put some governance in place. Let's figure out what is truly important. Let's prioritize. Then let's put a leadership team together that will drive some of this change, right? And then put some metrics. We do need metrics. Otherwise, you don't know if what you're doing is successful or not. We need to measure what we are doing so we can actually measure our progress, right? How do you drive results from those metrics? What are the metrics telling you? Look at your data, see what's going on, see where you need to focus on, and continue to drive insights out of that data that you're collecting. And then use that data to drive continuous improvement. And look for automation opportunities as well, right? We also kicked off multiple programs. We currently have a cloud transformation program, a data program, an integration program, and a network transformation program, and a service transformation program, all executing at the same time. So how long did I say I've been here? 1.5 years. So that's a lot to take on. And it's not possible if we don't have the right partners to help us through that journey. And if all of us are not marching to that same vision and at the same speed, we can't get there either, right? We talked about people, process, and technology. These are the foundations of our digital technology. We said let's optimize our processes, simplify, and then kick off some transformation initiatives, and make sure that we are doing this securely. So those are Kindle colors, by the way. That's what Kindle has been helping us with in all of these areas. We have simplified our platforms. We have driven insights out of that. We have done amazingly well in terms of figuring out how we have reduced our mean time to recover from incidents by almost 300% in 6 months. So our joiner, mover, lever process, it used to take us about 5 days to onboard an employee, just the IT portion of it. It's 4 hours now. So fantastic results that we've seen, and as I touched upon a little bit, a lot of transformation activities going on. Thank you.